Obviously, we're looking at Learning Assistant. If you have a look if you log in, it's the first unit, consultation, and the standards for this unit, which your apprentice should read before observation, can be found here on this little red. Obviously, any knowledge that you want to read that a learner should read before they start their assessment is there. And these are the different ranges that we will be looking at. So they should be able to identify, they must be able to identify the client's requirements. They must examine the hair and skin and scalp, especially looking for contraindications and any tests they might have to perform. And then they need to be able to advise the client on the service that they require and any products or any follow-up services. And then there are various different boxes of the range you must cover to be able to see a competent unit over the different observations you're going to be doing. Then you've got what you need to know, so you will have your cross-unit knowledge test and one evolve test. So if we go back at what is required, City and Guilds actually require a minimum of 3 observations for this unit. One is for consultation, one is consultation for colouring, one is consultation for cutting, one is consultation for perming. But you will also need to see 3 out of the 4 hair classifications, and you need to cover all the range. Now, some of the range will be covered in the evolve test. But just to let you know, ITS have an ILJ where they ask you to record 5 observations as part of that consultation unit. Now, why did ITS decide this? Well, when the new qualification for hair professional came out, ITS reflected on the requirement the City and Guild had for just a minimum of 3. But then looking at all the range that needs to be covered, given that we need to see 3 out of 4 hair classifications, it was deemed that we should do this over 5 observations to actually ensure that the apprentice gets the best chance to see all different hair types in different scenarios. As we know, communication is vital for our industry, and it is really important for the apprentices to be doing rather than just recording or writing about it. So during the consultation for service, it is easier for an apprentice to be assessed doing consultation for 5 observations, 1 for shampooing, 1 for style and finish, 1 for colouring, 1 for cutting and 1 for perming. And this will be done holistically. We wouldn't expect a consultation to be assessed on its own, unless of course you were holistically assessing and maybe the apprentice was non-successful in one of their other technical units. So as part of an observation, you must be examining the client's requirement, examining the hair and scalp, and giving them advice, as I mentioned a moment ago. There are also a lot of range that should be seen at every consultation. For example, the numbers and letters that are listed and shown here. Now, something new that we've noticed when we were IQAing the units is sometimes a range for infestations or infections, which is 4A and 4B, is ticked. Now, if they are describing what an infestation or an infection is, we wouldn't expect this to be done every time, and in fact it is covered on the evolve test. But if you want your apprentices to explain and describe and you're going to tick that box, we just ask for you to write a small description of what they've actually said and why you then think it is covering the range. So for just an example here, we'd expect the apprentice to use visual aids as part of the consultation. We would expect them to carry out certain hair tests. Now, if they're doing a consultation for shampoo, they might only do a porosity and elasticity test, whereas if they were doing a colour or a perm and the client had previous colour on the hair, they might well want to do an incompatibility test as well. So you would tick most of the tests. You would definitely do some tests as part of consultation for the unit, but that obviously differs depending on what technical unit you are wanting to see. So again, if you've said that you are giving advice and guidance back in 3.1, then I would expect you to always be ticking 7A, 7B, 7C and 7D. This is again just breaking down that your apprentice is able to give advice and recommendations. So as I said before, please agree the time with your consultation before the start of the assessment, and when you're writing in your description, can you just please state that the service was completed in the agreed time. So if you're holistically assessing, this might mean that your consultation is in the agreed time of 5 minutes, and maybe your shampoo is then in the agreed time of 10 minutes. And if you could state those separately, that would be very useful.